This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. Tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, we took another loss tonight to the Indiana Pacers. We got into an early hole, down 11, right off the jump. And the Knicks had to battle back all night long. We got as close as 2, but we could never get over the hump, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, as many questions as we've had throughout the season, there's nothing more we can say. The defense just is not the same, and I do not think that this personnel is going to be the same or it's going to ever get to that same level. We just don't have the people to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at us tonight, we could not get timely stops. Totally opposite from last year. Last year, we could get timely stops, but we couldn't make timely shots.
Right.
This year, we can make more shots, but we can't get the stops that we need to get us over the hump, and it showed tonight. What did we score tonight? 98?
I don't think we cracked 100. Yeah, we didn't crack 100.
98.
Yep.
98 points tonight, ladies and gentlemen. For a team that's supposed to be better offensively, we scored 98 points tonight. We had a low-scoring game in the previous game. Needless to say, right now, this team is struggling a little bit. Josh, what's your thoughts, man? Get around. We got anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got Josh, we got Steph, we got Ron. Thank you guys for being here with me. Josh, go ahead, man.
Salute Sam, salute Queen, salute Ron, salute the chat out there, NBK family. Listen, I was always concerned about the defense. I know, I don't want to keep saying, Reggie Bullock and Alfred Payton, but we really do miss those guys. The team is just not the same defensively, the same as last season. And now the offense is starting to worry me because if we're not making 3-point shots, we are struggling to score points now. So I'm really concerned about this team moving forward. There has to be a way for us to be able to get out of this little slump that we're in. I'm not going to overreact and say that everything is pretty much lost after 8 games, but we definitely need to get it together. And like I said, we're just getting outplayed right now. I think we played much harder tonight than the last game. Everyone played harder, but we're just not playing well. I mean, we got to step it up.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely played harder. I think Julius Randle played harder this game. But struggling offensively, okay, let's just get into that first. We're struggling offensively to find ways to get good shots.
Right.
Mhm.
Teams are pressuring up on us. We can't find good, clean, easy shots. And that was the whole purpose of bringing in 2 guys that could, that was better offensively, is to be able to get easier shots for everybody. And it's not happening. It happened earlier in the season. Well, it's still early in the season, but the first couple of games it happened. It's not happening now at all. Steph, your thoughts on the game in our offense right now?
The defense is not good. The offense, we're at a position that our defense is so bad that our offense has to be on point every single night. And that's just not something that you can expect from any offense, right? Some days shots fall, some days shots don't, but we can't fall back on our on our defense. So our offense pretty much have to be on. Doesn't have to be the same players each night, but it has to be enough of those. And tonight, Fournier missed open shots. Kemba did not look right. RJ looked good. Randall looked engaged, which was great. But just like last year, we did the same thing. We would go up against teams that were pretty good offensive teams, But once you put the clamp on them, once you put that defense on them, it was difficult for them to score. And that's what teams are doing for us. And maybe it was just this game, but Kimba's having a difficult time scoring against these, really defensive minded
Yeah.
guards now, and getting past them, actually. So we talked about this last night. I'm not sure how much of some of it is effort, but a lot of it is personnel. So I'm not quite sure how we get that much better.
Right. Right. I don't know. The only way that I can see we get better is, the team is going to gel some more. Hopefully, they gel on the defensive side as well. Now, I don't think that they're going to become as good as last year's team. Probably not even top 10, from what I'm seeing right now. But hopefully, they can gel and get a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it continues this way, and they want to, the Knicks want to continue to take steps forward, they've got to do something to rectify the defense. Ron, your take, man, your thoughts, just initial thoughts.
Well, one thing I will say, I feel like my biggest thing with this Nick team that just it takes me to a new level of frustration is when they don't give effort. Tonight, I saw them give a lot of effort. I feel like they came out to try to play the game right. They were trying to close out and get to the spots to get some type of defensive effort. I mean, we saw Rose jumping up trying to block shots. He got a couple. Guys were definitely moving better. This is a weird one for me because unlike the other games that we played where we didn't play well or we kind of started to fall apart in the closing moments of the game, I don't know exactly how much they could have done differently in this game. I think this matchup was bad. I think the way we're trying to play defense, the way Tibbs orchestrates his defense, Mitch cannot be like in my mind in the past, I used to say, man, a guy like that, if Mitch gets out there and there's a center that shoots threes, he's got to be out there guarding that guy. Don't let him shoot threes. I said that actually when we played the Bulls and Vucevic. But now watching Indiana and watching Miles Turner live out there, you can't do that. If Mitch lives out there on the perimeter, there's no rim protection, and they're going to run away and do whatever they want against our guards who aren't playing good defense. So this was just a bad matchup. I don't know what to say. Other than that, I don't think they could have done anything different.
Well,
I'm not sure.
You know what they did do, Ron, is they ran us off the 3-point line, right? Josh pointed it out to me earlier before we went live. They ran us off that 3-point line. We only shot 24 threes tonight. And so far this season, it's been our game to shoot threes.
Right.
They ran us off that line. And we only shot 20.8% from the 3-point line. And then we only shot 41.4% from the field. Their aggressive defense, again, I believe these teams know the blueprint, play us aggressively, and we struggle. The aggressive defense kept us from shooting the amount of shots we want to shoot or take, and it kept us at a low percentage.
Right.
I agree with that.
Can I say this also, Sim?
Mm-hmm.
We just don't have any, I don't know if you want to call it toughness or resolve. It's like they trying to keep you off the 3-point line. They trying to keep you out there. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. But
Right.
I'm still going to try to get to the line. You're going to have to just foul me, as I'm going to the line. It's like the Knicks offensively, we're just going to take what you give us. That's it. We're not going to force anything. We're going to take what you give us. I'm just not seeing that. I don't want to say they're not tough, but I'm not seeing that grit, even on the offensive end.
I agree. There is none of that. I mean, maybe in spurts. I think I seen some of it in spurts this game. And I was thinking to myself, in that third quarter, maybe this is the game that the Knicks needed to get the defense on track. Right? Because they showed some of that energy. But then the next thing you know, Indiana hits a couple of, hits a three, and scores a couple of buckets in a row, and we can't score on the other end. We can't get a stop.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the lead is back up to 10.
Yeah.
Mm.
I wonder if we should have put Randall on Miles Turner and went, and went small ball. But then you would have had
Maybe.
Sabonis and Obi, and I don't know how that would have turned out.
Right. Right. Not sure how that one turns out.
Woo.
We'll take a quick look at the box score, ladies and gentlemen. R.J. Barrett had another good basketball game. He had 23 points. I mean, yeah, there we go. He had 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Shot 40% from the field. Shot 33% from 3. But for the most part, R.J. Barrett kept us in the game when it was teetering. We could have really been blown out. R.J. Barrett kept us in the game, especially in that third quarter. Julius Randle had 18 points and 14 rebounds. He shot 37% from the field. He was 6 for 8 from the free throw line. Evan Fournier, he had 14 points. Alec Burks had 10 points. Derrick Rose had 13 points. Obi Toppin, 7 points. I guess we had better production from the bench tonight. We just didn't have enough production all around and overall.
Yeah.
Right. Kemba Walker tonight, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 for 11 from the field, 0 for 5 from the 3-point line. And like I was saying before, if he's going to become strictly a perimeter shooter, there's going to be nights when he doesn't give us production scoring the basketball because he's not always going to be hot. Teams are going to jam him up and not allow him to get those shots off. Right. Yeah, we got some things to work through. Let me ask you this though: are we? I don't want to say overreacting, but are we reacting to the hot start? We started 5-1, right? So now all of a sudden we have this expectation that this team is really, really good. When all the while, I think a lot of people thought that we might struggle at the beginning of the season because we have new players. We're trying to figure some things out. Did the hot start blind us?
No, I was just going to say, I don't know if it blinded us. It definitely gave us a different outlook on the team early. I mean, because a lot of us knew that we all had our expectations for what the team is going to do, throughout the season. But that hot start definitely did kind of make us start saying, hey, maybe we were wrong. Maybe they're better than we thought. But I would say this is what really, I think, kind of skews everything. It's the way in which they won games, or how easy it looked up until those fourth quarter, 3-4 minutes left in the game, because that definitely makes you think. If you watching your team play and they're playing all these different basketball teams, and each game they're up by 11, 12 points going into like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you do start to feel like this team is really good. And then they start to lose whatever momentum they got, and the other team gets back into it. So I think it's one of those, like, we look at it like, hey, we are beating ourselves. We easily could have make some corrections, and this is the easy game for us. And I think that gave me personally some false hope, make me think that maybe they are a little better than what I thought they were early on in the season. I still think they can be the same team that I predicted they will be at the end of the season, but sometimes it takes a little while to gel, and they came out to a nice hot start. So yeah, maybe a little bit. I would say that.
I would say absolutely. Especially the teams that we beat. That Celtics game, went to double overtime. We, showed a lot of good resolve in that game, but that was a game that we could have lost. I don't think people were looking at it that way. They were just happy that we beat Boston, which is a good Eastern Conference team. So I definitely do think so, Sam. And it's going to be a battle. Listen, this Eastern Conference is going to be a tough Eastern Conference. You got the Cavaliers, the Pacers are pretty good. Charlotte, pretty good teams that were at the bottom of the Eastern Conference last season. So, I just think that the Knicks can't sleep on any one of these teams in the Eastern Conference. Every game is going to be a fight, and we can't depend on who we were last season. We have to. This is a brand new season, and we just got to be able to adjust accordingly and go out and play. Just play ball.
Yeah, and the reason why I say that, well, I think you guys know the reason why I say that, but a new team may struggle down the stretch, right? A team trying to get together or fit players into the offense. And like Tom Thibodeau has said, even with Mitchell Robinson, he only played 30 some games last year. You know what I mean? So that's, you're trying to fit him into the offense a little bit as well, right? So a team with that type of chemistry may struggle a little bit down the stretch. Or when teams begin to really lock down on defense, they may say, "Hey, where do we go? What do we do?" Because they haven't developed that level of chemistry yet. So maybe should we have expected this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it when we was 5-1. I think everybody said that there was things that we needed to shore up. We were just winning despite the things that were happening. But that it's good that we're winning, and as we're trying to gel. But I think that as we get a bigger sample size and as we're playing different types of teams, we're beginning to see that the issue is not just holding on the leads. The issue
Right.
is our defense as well. The issue is, shooting is fickle anyway, right? It can fall, or not. We're really getting to see that, our guards, they can't defend the perimeter, but they can be defended. We got to have one or the other. Like, if you can't defend anyone, it's a net positive because they can't defend you, and that's not what we're finding. And I think that it's going to always be tough when we go against these tough defensive teams that get up into us, like Indiana did, like Toronto did. It's going to be tough for us. Kemba doesn't have that strength. He doesn't have that quickness. Fournier, I don't know. He just doesn't look 6'7" to me. He just doesn't, he looks small. I'm trying not to overreact, but I'm not sure what we're gonna, what we can do to fix that. I know people saying Tibbs need to make adjustment. He took RJ out too soon. He did this. He did. I think it's bigger than that. It's bigger
Yes.
than all of that.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's kind of bigger than all of that. Hopefully Tibbs is able to work it out. I don't know. We'll see coming up in the future. G Fresh, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Man, how y'all guys doing, man? What's up to the chat? What's up to the team? What's up? How y'all doing? I'm doing good, man.
Pretty good.
How you
Good,
feeling
good.
about tonight's game?
Oh man, it was one of those games, man. You could barely even try to watch. Like you try to really watch the game and really root, but you just felt from the beginning the energy was just off from the get-go. Um, you wanted to see whether if we had that fight, like kind of what Steph was saying, we've been the type of team to blown leads. Now, can we be that type of team to kind of crawl ourselves out early? But we just couldn't really just seem to do it. When we really needed a basket, we couldn't get a basket. Sloppy, turnovers. Really couldn't get into, decent sets. So it was kind of a disappointing one, but it's still early in the season. Guys are still trying to gel,
Yeah.
so you can't panic.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I don't think. I mean, you're right. Right, we can't panic. I don't think people are panicking. In the chat, I see a lot of people saying, hey, it's early. It's not like we lost 10 in a row.
Right.
But I think it's about just some of the things that we see. Like Steph was saying, we can't guard the perimeter. How do you get that better without having the personnel to make that better? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We're not, teams are able to move the basketball and find wide open shots. That, I guess, is fixable. But if you don't have the personnel that can rotate there fast enough, how do you fix it? I mean, we've seen Kemba Walker have to rotate out on Justin Holiday, and Justin Holiday looked down at him like, "Oh, and shoot it, knock it down,
Okay.
that easy." You know what I mean? And
Word.
I, but we knew that about Kemba Walker coming into the season, right? With his size. So
Yeah.
that's
I think it's a
James,
trade-off.
there's some things.
I think it's a trade-off. When it comes to Kemba, like when Kemba only scores 11 points, but then allows someone to score 18, 20 on him,
And
then
yeah,
that's the problem. When
that's the
Kemba,
issue.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the issue because we brought him in because we needed someone who can score the basketball, and when he stays perimeter oriented, it becomes a problem for us if he's not hitting. You see tonight, Malcolm Brogdon had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. He shot 50% from the field. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We need Kemba to be able to match that. If he can't stop that, we need him to match that.
absolutely.
Karis LeVert tonight, 21 points, 5 assists. Miles Turner had 25 points and 13 rebounds tonight. He normally doesn't give you 25 points.
Yeah, he's a guy that gets like 6 rebounds a game. Like,
He gave us 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
Mm.
Domantas Sabonis, 10 points, 7 rebounds. Torrey Craig had 12 points. Chris Duarte had 10 points. They had 6 players in double figures tonight.
This is kind of a funny game, and I know the eye test for a lot of people, they're going to just say, like, we're still struggling on defense. There's a lot of corrections that need to be made. We don't have the right personnel. We can't do this. I agree with a lot of that. With all the other games we've played so far where we've had letdowns on defense or we lost. But tonight's game, I kind of feel like we lost it on the offensive end because their bigs shot 9 threes. I mean, you can play the best defense in the world. First off, Miles Turner was shooting. Even when I saw somebody try to guard him, Mitch wasn't there all the time, but when he tried to get in his face, this guy was shooting rainbow threes. You can't block that. You can hope to try to get in his face and block his vision a little bit, but it's just a tough task, right? And especially when you're trying to guard the lane. So if you take away the defense against Miles Turner with these 7 threes he hit, I think the Knicks are right in this ball game, and I think the bigger issue tonight was their offense and how the Indiana Pacers shut them down for what you said, Sim, shut them down, and what Josh alluded to earlier from what they wanted to do, and we didn't make any adjustments on the offensive end. I think if we would have done that, we would have had a better chance to win this game. And this is one of those where you don't want to say and point the finger at Tibbs and his coaching style, but this is where I think you need to get other players involved, man. I think you got these guys on your bench, and when things ain't going right, you want to give somebody a breather. Put Grimes in the game. He gives you defense, and he might give you a better shot. He could get hot, and if he gets hot, then the defense is going to play him, and then that opens it up for somebody else on the team who maybe who didn't have it going. Like, I don't know. I'm a little frustrated with Tibbs' rotation.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah. I think it's not uncommon for coaches to not bail on players that they trust. It's not uncommon for a coach to say, I believe in this guy. He's struggling right now, and I believe that he's gonna come out of it, and try to give him more time. Eventually, a change have to be made. I was in that position as well, but you try to give that player every opportunity to succeed. Sometimes you cut their minutes down a little bit. You don't play them as much. It's 7 games in, I don't know if that's enough time to just
throw him to
take
the
him out
wolves.
of take him out of the take him out of the rotation.
Hold on 1 second, Josh. Can I just say this real quick? Well, I'm not saying a positional change. I'm just saying for one game, just to switch stuff up to give yourself a different look. Burks is the guy, or whoever else is ahead of him. They're still the people that are going to go out there every game and do what they got to do. I'm saying when you have these type of moments and you're searching, you're pulling at strings to try to find out how to break this momentum that the other team has. You already gave Grimes 19 minutes in the preseason in one game where you kind of showcased him. We saw what he could do. So it's not like Deuce or Jericho that you don't want to really put out there. I'm just saying, like, it would have been nice to give a little change. But go ahead, Josh. My bad.
So I mean, I do agree that it's way too early to be like thinking about personnel changes as far as people on our bench is concerned. At the end of the day, Tibbs is the one that has to face these guys in the locker room, right? You don't want to risk losing your locker room so early in the season. And I'm not saying that if you bring a guy like Grimes in, give him some minutes or whatever the case may be, that's what's going to happen. But, as a coach, you also have to be thinking about that part of it as well. If you put your veterans on the bench, people that you pay the money to, there is a possibility that, you can cause a little bit of strife in the locker room, particularly when a team is not playing well. I just think it's way too early to do that. I think that, we still have to see how things are going to progress and play out. And if midway through the season, Tibbs wants to go ahead and make that move, I will have no problem with it. Right now, it's just a little bit too early. I see where you're coming from, Ron, but I just will wait and, let everything kind of play itself out a little bit later in the season, and then we can make that move, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. I think when you look at the season, you kind of got to break it down in like 20 game intervals. You can't, like Steph in 7 games, 8 games, you can't make a big rotation. And I get what you're saying, switch it up. But I think, find a way to have Grimes still some minutes, whether it's 3 minutes, that could be a boost. When and already you kind of seen this trend with Fournier. When Fournier's cold, he is cold. Like he's not one of those guys like RJ that could go cold and then come and reestablish himself. So I think maybe you would sneak into Grimes 1 or 2, for 2 minutes and see what he does. And if there's no momentum switch, then you just then you go back to your regular rotation.
So you think after 20 games, that's when Tibbs might start looking at. I mean, after 20 games, you could be in trouble. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. I do think he's probably, he's going to give guys a good look before he snatches them out. It's going to give guys the chance to, reestablish themselves or bounce back, But Grimes, I've said it a bunch of times, he does fit perfectly in that second unit because
just need the ball in his hands.
Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly all need the ball in their hands, and he does not. And he plays some defense. He does fit well in there. I do think he's going to continue to give Emmanuel Quickly a chance. You know what I mean? But I'm sure Grimes is probably lurking on the outside, and he's got to recognize that we're having trouble guarding point guards and wings. And we need someone who can do it. And a guy like Grimes, we don't know if he can do it yet consistently, but he has that skill and he has that ability. Taking a look at the team comparisons for the night. The Pacers shot 39% from the three-point line, 46% from the field overall. Right? That's normally what the Knicks are shooting from the field. Knicks tonight, 20.8% from the three-point line and 41.4% from the field. The Pacers out-rebounded the Knicks 58-51. They had more assists than the Knicks, 26-23. Teams, they tied with 7 steals, 7 blocks for the Pacers, 6 for the Knicks. Both teams with low turnovers, 11 for the Pacers, 10 for the Knicks. And the Knicks still shooting, kind of iffy from the line at 77.8%. The Pacers were 78.6%. The Knicks scored 54 points in the paint. And they only allowed 46 points in the paint. Kind of went away from what the Knicks had been doing with shooting threes. Right? They only shot 24 threes tonight. The Knicks had 19 second chance points. The Pacers had 12. 14 fast break points for the Knicks. 18 fast break points for the Pacers. It's the shooting that did it, though. And it's not like they were just missing shots, the Knicks. The Pacers made it tough on them. Right? And they made it tough on Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker couldn't really, it was hard for him to get shots off. He get to the basket. He got 2 or 3 guys contesting his shot. He can't get it over them. And I think Steph said it before, with Kemba Walker, we need Kemba Walker to be a scoring guard to be able to put up points. If he's not putting up points, then it's taking away a big portion of what we do offensively.
Right.
And I think we've seen that. It's scary to say, but let me ask you, Steph, are
Mhm.
you willing to say as Kemba goes, this team goes?
Ooh. I don't I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. Um that's a tough question, Sam. And that's a good question. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, but I will say this. If his shots are not falling, he doesn't need to play. Because if he's not a net positive, we're not going to get anything on the defensive end. So
What
if
was the
shots
point?
is not falling, maybe that's the time to bring in a McBride, because we're talking about Grimes and McBride for the second unit. What about that first unit? Like, we need some defense in that first unit as well on the perimeter.
Yeah, right. I
And
know.
to also add, even if he doesn't score, it's not like he's gonna light up the assists. It's not like he's gonna get us like 8, 9 assists. I mean, he
Right.
stays right at that 4 to 5 assists. So even when he's not hitting shots, it's not like in the back of your mind like, all right, well, Kimba's gonna get everybody involved. He's gonna facilitate. He's gonna get 9, 8 assists. So I kind of agree with you. You gotta, you don't want to cut the leash on him off him too soon. But Tibbs need to have that conversation with him, kind of start preparing him. Like, listen, you know,
Yeah. Now, our rebuild NYK, if we are depending on Kemba, then we are in trouble. Now, I'm not saying that to say that Kemba is the best player on the team. I'm just saying that to say what he provides us is something that we really need for this team to kind of unlock and open it up for everybody else. If you notice the games that Kemba was scoring, our offense looked great. When he's knocking down that mid range and he's knocking down threes, it looks great because then him coming off that pick and roll, teams are afraid of what he's going to do. And now it opens up the floor for everybody else.
Right. Right.
So I'm not saying that to say he's the best player, but what he provides us and how his game has the ability to open up the floor, it's it's a tough situation because like I said, I don't think what he's did those 2-3 games in a row is sustainable if he's only
Yeah.
shooting from the outside. He's got to be able to get to the basket and put pressure at the rim, and I just don't think he can do it.
I can't. He's having difficulty turning the corner. When he's trying to drive, those guards are able to recover and get back in front of him.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody gave me and Josh and Mark the smoke in the beginning, but I saw it from the very beginning when we traded for Kemba. I mean, not traded for him, when we picked him up.
yeah,
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 but I will say that even though we know Kimba's got his liabilities, and if the offense isn't clicking, it looks like a terrible acquisition. The team itself has some issues in personnel. Maybe we went a
He's
little
part
too
of it,
far to the
Ron.
we went a little too far to the left, a little bit
Yes.
maybe.
Hmm.
So if think of it, if we had, say, if Reggie Bullock was here, just for example, say if Reggie Bullock was starting, and I don't know if Fournier would even come off the bench, if that would be his role, if he would be comfortable with that, since he's been a starter most of his career. But if that was the case, I think Bullock would make up for a lot of Kimba's inefficiencies on defense, and he would be more free to do what he's got to do out there on the offensive end. Right now, he is under a lot of pressure because he can't guard anybody, and the man next to him can barely guard people. Fournier is a better defender, but not that much better. So I
Right.
think Kimba's having a really tough time out there, and I think he knows that the onus is on him and his compatriot over there, Fournier, to kind of get something done, and they physically may not be able to do it. So it's making the whole man. I don't know
Yeah.
where can you go here, man? I don't know.
I can tell you what you got. In my
that's a good
opinion,
point.
play some more zone.
Had to hide him a
You
little
got
bit.
you got Kemba and Fournier out there. Fournier can put the effort out there, and he's not
Mhm.
the worst. I'm not saying he's the best. He's not Reggie Bullock defensively, but he's not the worst. Kemba puts the effort out, but he just can't do it. I say play some zone. I know
You
Tom
mentioned it
Thibodeau's not
before.
going to do it, but play some zone.
Yeah.
Man, Ted loves his man-to-man though. Like,
Yeah, but
yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look forward for a minute now. After this game, we play Milwaukee, right? We got Milwaukee coming up.
Next game is Cleveland. Cleveland at the Garden.
Cleveland at the Garden. That's
no,
Friday.
Milwaukee.
No,
Cleveland is
Milwaukee's
Sunday.
next.
Yeah,
Milwaukee's
Milwaukee.
next.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I think
Milwaukee's next.
I think that's an ESPN game too.
On ESPN, they're 4-4. We're 5-3. Outlook, and just a quick outlook on that game.
Loss.
Well, they're injured. They got a lot of injuries. They got a lot of players out.
Well, I think. Listen, our 3-point defense is just not good right now. Not good at all whatsoever. And I think Milwaukee's a team that likes to shoot threes. They surrounded Giannis with a lot of 3-point shooters. And I just think our transition defense is not that good either. So I can just see us missing shots and Milwaukee making some good defensive plays and Giannis going coast to coast. You know what I mean? Which he's going to do on anybody anyway. But I think it's going to be another tough game. We got to be able to be ready for that matchup 100%.
Yeah. We'll see who plays in the last game. The starting five, the Milwaukee Bucks, George Hill, Grayson Allen, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Pat Connaughton.
They starting the brother now?
Guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how injured they are.
Chris Middleton is out. Brooks is out. I mean,
Holiday,
Drew Holiday is out. Like, they got a bunch of guys out. Will they be back for that game? I don't know. I don't know what their injury situation is. I haven't looked into it, but they're out.
No, if that's the case, I changed that. I don't believe they're going to lose. I think the Knicks can win this game. I think the worst thing that happened to us is that Indiana got right tonight against us. And if TJ Warren would have came back, but so if all those guys, if all those people are out, we got a good shot to beat Milwaukee.
They still play defense.
Yeah, Milwaukee beat Detroit their last game 117-89.
Damn. I think just to say real quick, I think the key would be Mitch. I think Mitch has with the extra weight. I'm not saying he's gonna start Giannis, no way. But if Mitch could set the tone at least with Giannis, I think we had this is just the raw thought that would just kind of give us a fighting chance. But,
I don't know if I'm putting Mitch on Giannis, man. I don't think he has good enough footwork. Mitch can't stay up by himself.
Like I said, it was at least a thought, man. It was at least a thought, man. The reason why I said that is because Mitch gave a great effort against Embiid. Now they're two, Giannis and Embiid are two different players, two different styles. But I think Mitch could help set the tone.
Now, I hear you, G Fresh. I'm just gonna say how we saw that Indiana used the mismatch tonight with Miles Turner being able to stretch the floor. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a tremendous mismatch for Mitch. Giannis Antetokounmpo is one of the fastest big men in the league, and Mitch is slower now that he put on a little weight. It's gonna be a track meet out there. I hope he figures out a way to kind of stay around him. But he's not going to stay with him.
Yeah, you got a point.
Giannis is out.
I'd be scared of that. We need Mitch's ankles intact. We don't need any broken knees or broken foots or anything like that. And I'm afraid if he's trying to guard Giannis 1-on-1, there could be some trouble there. I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one. And then we got Cleveland. There's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, they've been playing better.
So
and they just won tonight too.
Yeah, Cleveland, they beat Portland tonight, 107-104. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Cleveland right now is 5-4 on the season.
5-4.
Steph, you was right. I know on the Queen's Court you brought it up. that Indiana Pacers schedule of the people they've had to play so far. And if you look at their schedule in the next 20 games, it's horrific. Their schedule is bananas. So I knew after last night, I was very concerned about tonight's game. I felt like, man, this might we have a little dysfunction on defense. I felt like this was going to be a relief for them. I thought that this was going to help them to play us because we don't have it right now. We trying to find it again.
Right.
So
I don't know. We'll see. Right now, the Eastern Conference, Miami is 6-1. On top of the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia is 6-2. Chicago is 6-2. Toronto is 6-3.
Toronto, look at that.
Toronto is 6-3.
That fast.
That quick, right? Charlotte's 5-3. Brooklyn's 5-3. The Wizards are 5-3. The Knicks are 5-3. Cleveland's 5-4, and the Milwaukee Bucks are 4-4. Atlanta's 4-4. Then you got the Celtics, the Pacers, and Orlando and Detroit all have losing records. Celtics are 3-5. Pacers 3-6, but they've won their last two. Orlando's 2-7, and the Detroit Pistons are 1-6.
Just like that, we in 8th place in the conference. We was just saying they was in third. They was in third yesterday.
They was in third yesterday. We was in first, 2 games ago.
Wow.
I just think these teams in the Eastern Conference are going to beat up on one another. This is a really good conference this year. We can't sleep on no teams. Like, it's going to be a battle every single night with all these games. Right. Charlotte, Indiana, like all of these teams, Cleveland. So we just got to be able to show up and play our best basketball every single night.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely said that coming in.
It's definitely like the 90s again.
And obviously, early in the season, there's going to be wild swings from first to eighth, because you haven't played a lot of games. Once you get 20, 30, 40 games into the season, now those swings after one loss, aren't as much.
Right.
You know what I mean? But,
the East is a monster.
Yeah, the East is definitely a monster. The Knicks got some work to do. Right now around the NBA, ladies and gentlemen, the Mavs and the Spurs are playing. The Spurs are up 89-86 over the Mavs. Tim Hardaway has 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists so far. Devin Vassell, G-Mo's boy, has 21 points.
Finally.
Early in the game, the Hornets are up over the Warriors, 16-10. LaMelo Ball has 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Jordan Poole has 8 points for the Warriors. The Pelicans and the Kings are playing right now. The Pelicans are up 26-25. Devontae Graham has 8 points and 3 assists. De'Aaron Fox has 7 points and 2 assists. Like we said, Cleveland beat Portland. Jared Allen had 24 points and 17 rebounds, 4 assists. Damian Lillard, he had 26 points, 3 rebounds, and 8 assists. The Boston Celtics beat up on the Magic, 92-79. Jaylen Brown had 28 points, 5 rebounds, assists. Wendell Carter had 13 points and 13 rebounds. 76ers beat the Bulls, 103-98. DeMar DeRozan had 37 points and 10 rebounds for the Bulls.
That's my guy.
Wasn't enough. Joel Embiid had 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Raptors beat the Washington Wizards. Fred VanVleet had 33 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. Bradley Beal had 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. And then you had the Nets beat the Hawks, 117-108. Kevin Durant had 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Trae Young almost had a triple-double. He had 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists. Then you had the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Denver Nuggets. Jaren Jackson Jr., he had 22 points and 8 rebounds. Jokic had 34 points and 11 rebounds to go along with 5 assists for the Nuggets. And then you had the Clippers beat the Wolves. Both teams are 4, by the way, after tonight. The Clippers beat the Wolves 126-115. Paul George had 32 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. And Anthony Edwards had 28 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. That's the rundown for the night. That's the rundown for the night. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You guys are going to get a complete rundown with the Eastern Conference next week with Ron and John from Still Knicks Fans. Look forward to it next Thursday at 8 p.m. A new show on NBK called the NBA Rundown. just running down some teams in the Eastern Conference and beyond, and how it relates to the New York Knicks. I think you guys should like that. I see some people in the chat say we don't know enough about other teams. Well, guess what? We do now because we got the rundown coming. So
it's gonna be fire,
there you
y'all.
go.
Check that out. That's about to be so dope.
Yeah,
Can't
for
wait for
sure.
that.
No doubt about it. It's going to be dope. We got some other stuff coming. You see G Fresh on the panel, but we'll keep that a secret for right now. We'll
Yes,
keep that a
yes,
secret
yes.
for right now. Just just stay with it, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with it. We got a lot of stuff coming. Any last words on the night, Steph? I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get too down. It is early in the season. There is some things we need to shore up. I'm concerned about our defense. I think it's more than effort. I think it's a personnel issue. I'm not sure how we're going to address that. I just think that, in my opinion, it lowers your ceiling a little bit when you're mostly an offensive team because shots fall, shots don't, So I'm not sure what we're going to do about that. We'll see. After 20 games, I guess we'll have a better sense.
Yeah. Ron?
Yeah, I agree with Steph. I mean, it's all about going back to that whole thing, not getting too high, not getting too low. It's very early in the season. I guess we're a team that now we have to get used to this type of adversity when we're a good basketball team. We were so used to not being good. So last year was our wake up, brand new product out there we fell in love with. This year is the extension of that. But it's an 82 game season. There's a lot of time for us to get right. I think we will get right. We'll be fine, guys. And, who knows? I know there's some Knicks fans out there already talking about trades and who we're going to get here. Of course, I'd love to get somebody to help the team. But you know what? Maybe the answer is right there on the bench. So let's give it some time and see what happens.
Yeah, okay. Big shout out to Bodega Wi-Fi. He said 5 points from the center position is pathetic. Mitch with 3, Noel with 2. I agree. I don't know how we get more from that position. I tell you what, I go back to Kemba Walker, and I don't want to keep putting it on Kemba Walker, but him running that screen and roll with Mitchell Robinson, is key to our offense clicking and offense having and Mitch having more than just 3 points. RJ Barrett too. We need RJ Barrett to do some more, work with Mitch, Evan Fournier, everybody. But it kind of starts with Kemba Walker in that screen and roll attack, in my opinion. So, Josh?
I'll just say this, since people say that I don't get on Julius Randle enough. I'll just say that he is our All NBA player, but he's not playing All NBA basketball at all right now. He is playing decent, in my opinion, based on the numbers that he's putting up. He came with more effort today, but he's not playing like an All NBA player. The team's losing. And it all has to start. We have to start looking at Julius Randle a little bit more, and him being able to put this team on his back and get something going. Because right now he's just not getting it done in that aspect. But overall, as a team, we just don't look good right now, and we just got to find a way to snap out of it and fight out of it.
Yeah, no doubt. G Fresh.
I mean, like they say, it's not losses, it's lessons. So you're gonna take this, this loss as a lesson and just build upon it, and kind of agree with Josh was saying. I think one thing I wanted to see Randall do the little things. When he's running the floor, not stopping to stop the ball and continue to run the floor to get the easy layup. I think he, just those little things. I think your teammates watch him doing the little things. We know that he gives the effort, but is he doing the little things? Those guys help those guys to say, okay, my guy is diving for loose balls. My guy is running the floor. He's doing role player like things, for us to win. And I would like to see Randall do that.
I mean, I get it. I mean, the rebounds, he grabs rebounds, but I know what you're saying. Small little things, those little tiny things that make a team click. I get you. I hear you.
Mark said that Randall needs to roll when they do pick and rolls, because he actually stands there and wait for to get the ball back and pick and pop. So I definitely want to see Randall go to the basket a little bit more and play more, in the paint and stop being a perimeter player all the time.
No,
I think he can win that battle.
I would like to see him roll in in that pick and roll as well. I'd like to see him roll, but when you have a center like Mitch or Nerlens Noel in there that can't shoot the three, it limits it at least a little bit, right? Because they're going to be standing in the dunker spot. Now, where's Randall going to go when he rolls? You know what I'm saying? Like when you have Mitch rolling to the basket, Randall's out at the 3-point line. So opens up that middle for Mitch to roll to the basket. And I'm not saying Randall will do it if there was another shooter in the game besides one of those centers. But most of the time when Randall's in the game, it's Mitch in the game. It kind of cuts off his roll to the basket.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You know, so I think if you want Randall to roll to the basket, which, you know, he doesn't, I haven't seen him do it very often. You know what I mean? But if you want him to, then he's got to do it with a different lineup, maybe with Obi in the game.
The small ball lineup, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because
Which kind of go back to what Steph's saying with the personnel.
You know, at
issue.
least he can be respectable, right? At least he can be respectable from the 3-point line where teams, you know, it's going to spread the floor out some. So we'll see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. You know, sometime tomorrow, I don't know. I guess I got to see how the internet works, but I might do a little short shoot around from the beach.
Shaba.
You know,
Hey, yeah, man.
from the beach.
Just rub it in, right? Just rub it in, right?
You know, 86 degrees on the beach. You know, I know you guys, some of you guys are cold right now, about 35. I don't feel bad for you.
All right, bro. All right, bro.
feel
All
bad
right,
for
bro.
you.
The North Face. The North Face already out.
I hear you. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you guys later. We're out of here. Peace. Spread love, ladies and gentlemen.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.